You just shot an unarmed man.
Well, he should have harmed himself.
The 1992 film Unforgiven, directed by and starring Clint Eastwood, is much more than just another addition to the Western genre. It's a profound exploration of morality, redemption, and the human condition. The origins of Unforgiven trace back to a script by David Webb Peoples, which languished for years until finally catching Eastwood's eye. He waited patiently, letting the idea mature alongside his own career until he felt ready to bring this gritty tale to life. When it finally hit theaters, Unforgiven offered a stark departure from the traditional westerns of the past. Gone were the clear-cut heroes and villains. In their place stood complex characters grappling with their pasts. Themes of justice, revenge, and the haunting nature of violence are woven intricately throughout the narrative. Eastwood's portrayal of William Money, a retired gunslinger dragged back into the life he left behind, challenges viewers to reconsider the glorified myths of the Wild West. As the story unfolds, audiences are invited to reflect on the true cost of violence and the elusive nature of redemption. Unforgiven not only achieved critical acclaim, winning 4 Academy Awards, including Best Picture and Best Director, but it also reshaped the landscape of Western films. Its success marked a turning point, breathing new life into a genre that many thought had ridden off into the sunset. By presenting a more realistic and morally ambiguous view of the West, it paved the way for future filmmakers to explore deeper, more nuanced narratives. Sometimes, the most powerful stories are those that challenge our perceptions and leave us questioning our own understanding of right and wrong. Welcome to Popped. I'm the host and creator of the show. And joining me is my co-host, Eric, writer of books and such, mostly about the glory days of the gunfighters of the Old West. Howdy, Eric.
Howdy. Welcome to Popped. Looking forward to this episode.
Me too. Because also joining us is a rootin' tootin' cold-hearted pig farmer. He used to be a no-good killer of women and children and just about anything that walked or crawled at one time. But his wife cured him of drinking, cursing, and his wicked ways. Welcome, Glenn.
Oh, well, thank you, Daniel. I appreciate it.
I keep good company.
Yeah, you have, the scum of the earth. Hey, welcome.
I'm like your Ned, right?
Yeah. Except you're still alive.
For now. We haven't ventured into the Old West yet, have we? Yeah, you're the Schofield kid.
You're the Schofield kid. That's it. That's what it is.
Wow.
Can't be the cool guy ever.
Hey, we're going to get into Unforgiven in a minute here, but first, we have some popped mail. All right, so we got an email from a guy who used to message us all the time in the early days of this podcast, and he sort of disappeared, and I wondered whatever happened to him. And the reason he stuck out is because he went by the moniker Lloyd Dobler. And yeah, so if you're a fan of John Cusack, you know who that is. But anyway, he wrote in and said, "Hello, Popped. Sorry I haven't written in a long time, but wanted to say your show looks and sounds so much more polished now. Great work. The Better Off Dead episode with director Savage Steve Holland was awesome. I don't know if you still talk to him or not, but if you do, would you mind asking him if he's ever run into John Cusack after everything that happened? If not, would he want to?
There's way more that I'd like to ask, but I've always been curious if they ever spoke again or repaired that relationship in any way. So I got this email 2 nights ago, and I thought, oh, long shot trying to get an answer from Savage Steve, within a day and a half. But I wrote him, and lo and behold, I got an answer from the man, the myth, the legend, Savage Steve Holland. And his response is as follows. Let me scroll down a second here so I can get to it. Hi, best buddy. And with a high five to Lloyd D. This is an easy one. No. But I wish John well. So excited to see the podcast is doing so well. You guys rock best, Savage. So that's pretty bitchin'. Savage is still engaged with us and fans of his films. And if you want to send us an email like Lloyd just did, and say, hey, you guys are great, or hey, you guys suck. Doesn't matter. Send whatever you like, but send it to poppedreview@gmail.com or Eric_poppedkernel@proton.me. And that's popped mail. Oh, wrong film. Unforgiven, guys. All right. I'm going to read a little snippet here that I clipped from a page because I was kind of looking into a lot of different things, because this is one of those heady films that really subverts the whole Western genre. And there is a lot of meat here to talk about. But I'm going to start with this little statement. Clint Eastwood's Unforgiven is widely considered a masterpiece of the Western genre. It serves as a brilliant deconstruction of the Wild West myth, stripping away the romanticism of gunslingers and heroes to reveal the ugly, tragic reality of violence. So I'm just going to start by saying that this film won 4 Academy Awards. To me, it's a truly beautiful film. It makes use of cinematic, like light and shadow, location scenery, and it's really well put together how the story advances. We'll go with our guest first, Glenn. What do you think about the film Unforgiven?
Well, the film as a whole is fantastic. I mean, it's sometimes, and if you watch it, depending on the lens that you're watching it, it could be a hard watch. There's some scenes in there that are hard to watch. It's funny. I told my wife, I'm like, hey, let's watch this again, and she's like, nope. She's like, nope, I don't need to. I already know. She's like, I've seen it, and She's like, nope, it's too hard of a watch.
Mm.
And that's something that you kind of mentioned the violence end of things,
Mhm.
and the interesting part throughout the film, and I know we'll get deeper into this, is how much it really shows the toll that violence takes.
True.
And not only on the people that it's the violence against, but the people that are doing the violence.
I'm curious, Eric, how this movie strikes you as well. So what are your thoughts on Unforgiven, just off the cuff?
Oh goodness. I I have been a fan of the Clint Eastwood Western genre for a while. Um, I watched a lot of, all the Sergio Leone, Man with No Name, you know, Eastwood films that basically established his career. So Clint Eastwood in a Western was an instant draw for me in terms of going to the movies to watch this. And in a way, this film completely um you can almost see that this could very well have been those same characters that he played in these earlier films, now dealing with the consequences of being such a cold-blooded killer in those early parts of his life.
Right. And it happens, this film essentially starts many, many years after most Westerns would end, right? So you've got the hero, anti-hero, whatever you want to call him, running a pig farm. The first few frames of him are him rolling around in pig shit trying to take care of, sick pigs. And he's got his 2 children out there, and he's broken down. They show later after the Schofield kid shows up and, tempts him into this bounty that he can't even shoot his gun straight anymore. Um, he has stopped drinking, stopped doing all the things that made him who he was, and he's sort of living this life, this recalcitrant life where he's, um, suppressing the wickedness within him to be a good man. It's a stark contrast to the way they paint a heroic, cowboy in the old Western films. It turns like the Western tropes on their head, right? So I've got some bullet pointed tropes here that we can kind of go through, but you have the tamed frontier, right? So the cowboy is usually in control of their environment, whereas in this film, he can't even get his pig farm set up. He gets rained on and he gets sick. The environment is almost as much of an antagonist to these guys as, little Bill and some of the other people. There's the hero with the gun. Uh, I wouldn't say this guy's a hero on any level, maybe an anti-hero. Uh, Cowboys are known in old films for being honorable. You got the lone drifter. Well, he's obviously not a drifter anymore. He's settled down. He's, had a wife, taking care of kids. The showdown at high noon. Well, the showdown in this film happens in the rain, in the dark, and he sort of just sneaks into the saloon and he's just there, right? Black hats versus white hats. The righteous sheriff, which, there's no righteous sheriff in this film. Law versus outlaw, etc. So let's play a game, guys. All right, I'm going to name off some of these characters and we're going to go hero, anti-hero, innocent bystander, not so innocent bystander, villain. Can we do that? Or do you think that would be a futile exercise?
I feel it's a futile exercise because that's like watching a Tarantino film, right? Or a Guy Ritchie film. There's there's no good guy in those films, right? There's no good person. There's people who are on the road to redemption in various ways, if you will. Uh,
True. That
but
was kind of a trap question. I mean, I
fair,
mean,
fair enough.
In severe stark contrast to this movie is a Western, which I also love, um, called Silverado with
yeah.
Kevin Costner and can't think of his name, um, Scott Glenn.
Was that Scott Glenn? I
Was
get a
that
lot
Scott?
of them mixed up because there's quite a few westerns that came out kind of in a similar period.
Yeah.
Costner also did Wyatt Earp, didn't he? Where
And then
he's
Yes.
shooting
yeah,
the
and
two
then
guns in two
Tombstone,
different directions,
and then you have Tombstone, which is not Kevin Costner,
Yes.
which is an
but
amazing
but is
film.
Wyatt Earp at the same time. You'd have the
Yes.
same story, but being told a little differently.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
right.
yeah, Silverado was a complete and utter, 360 from this, where there are very clear white hats versus black hats,
Hmm.
very clear, you know, the shooters on the white hat side are all, our main guy is also very stoic and very, you know, he's there with his gun. He's great with his gun. He's, Kevin Costner, that cocky little, the cocky bastard that he is, riding and shooting from both hands, and just woohoo, having a great time of it. And you know,
Right. Yeah.
yeah,
Well,
compared to this, which is almost brutal by comparison.
there are no clear-cut heroes, as Glenn said. And this all plays out against a morally gray landscape.
In this, I mean, you look at it from a couple of different ways. You've got Little Bill, the
Hmm.
sheriff, who's running the town, who says no guns in the town, with the
Hmm.
exception of the sheriff and the deputies. Like they take away everybody's firearms. Okay, no problem. So he wants to make it to where there's not a bunch of trouble in the town. So if you look at it from one end, it's like he's about law and order. He
Right.
wants it to be this is how it is.
Yeah, he's kind of a control freak, and his idea is, look, I'm just gonna take away all the guns from people, and once they don't have them, or if they try to hide them, I'm gonna come up with my little posse here, and make sure I've got the high ground, and beat the crap out of them, make a example. So he's sort
Exactly.
of tyrannical and sadistic on top of trying to keep the peace in the town.
And then
Was
at
it
the same time, he wants to be judge, jury, and executioner.
exactly? Yeah.
Because hence, when the cowboys come in and cut up Delilah,
Hmm.
and they cut her up, and he cuts her up, what does he do? He doesn't do anything. Bring me some horses.
Right.
That's it. And
It's
it's
an
like, what, you're not?
uneven administering of justice,
Yeah,
right? Because he sees them as property and he doesn't see them as people like he does the two cowboys.
right.
I mean, to me, that's what it is. Is that
Well, and that's and the same thing. The owner of the bar slash brothel, he's like, I have a contract. I paid for them to be here, and I paid for her passage here, and I paid for all of this. And that's when Little Bill says, "Yeah, well, they're property. This is what it is." And it was very clear where the women stood based on him. So if you're looking, it's like, well, who is he good for? Well, he's good for the he's good for the bar owner and the brothel owner.
right,
He's good for that guy. For the women trying to get justice, not good at all.
right. I
He's a
do like
little
the fact. Sorry, go ahead, Eric. You were going to
no,
say something.
he's a little he's definitely sadistic. He's definitely very heavy-handed when it comes to doling out justice, except in the instance of justice for Delilah. Um,
True.
Everybody else where he's doling out justice, English Bob, oh, you snuck in a gun and you lied to me about it, and I just don't like you, so I'm gonna beat the crap out of you on a public street. Um,
But I mean, he's building himself reputation there, right?
yeah,
As if you do this, you're gonna get your ass beat coming into my town. And
but
yeah, it's sadistic.
to the degree that he applies that brutality, I mean, Ned didn't deserve that at all.
No,
I
not
mean,
at all.
because
Well,
it's
we can get to Ned, but
yeah,
since we're talking about little Bill Daggett, I think it's interesting because you look at the dichotomy of this guy, you go, oh, well, he's building a house. He's a good guy. They sort of fool you initially into thinking that this guy really just wants to keep the order in the town and the townspeople respect him. But when you see who this guy actually is and how he handles situations, you realize, this guy's kind of a jackass. I don't know, that's
he's
probably a simplistic word, but he's a brute.
Or
He's
you can use the infamous words of Jeff Spicoli. You dick.
he runs the town from a position of fear.
hmm
I mean, everybody's afraid of him. Nobody wants to go up against him.
right.
And that's how he keeps order.
Well,
And that
intimidation
is,
is the same is what I was getting at, right?
yeah,
And his arrogance is the only thing. It's kind of like his little fatal flaw because he sees the fear that he instills in people, and it works on everybody except for the true hardened killers. It actually leads to the climax because when he tortures and kills Ned Logan, William Money before that point, uh, he had like this forced humanity that he says his wife gave him, and that was sort of his mask, this veneer that he hid under, and that wicked, like awful killer hid under. As soon as he killed Ned, he stripped that away, and the real hard killer came out to play. And I think that it's cool because you get this sheriff who thinks he's doing the right thing, and obviously he believes he's a good guy. I'm building a house, which was a brilliant metaphor for how he, runs everything. There's holes in the roof. It's not correctly built. Um, just like
not a single straight border nail in that whole construction.
Yep.
exactly. Yeah, I
Yeah.
think that the little Bill character, I mean, it makes sense that he won the Academy Award for his acting, but the character itself is arguably one of the strongest characters in Western history.
Well, I think that definitely he deserved the Oscar for that because if you start to look at it, you can really see the kind of the duality of Little Bill. Because if you watch that and you watch when he has Beauchamp with him,
Hmm.
and Beauchamp's kind of writing everything down, and things are leaking, and he's like, "Hey, so and he's just like your best friend, and he's just,
Your best,
oh, and
most intimidating friend.
yeah, but
Yeah.
you're like, oh, this is great. We're over here doing this, and look at all these things, and I'm building a house, and look at all. Oh, sorry, hey, can you open the window for me really quick while I dump some more water out because it's raining?"
Yeah.
And you see him, and you go, well, no, he's just like a regular guy. And then you see him beating Ned and just kind of whispering in his ear, going, "Yeah, we're gonna bring the girls over here, and if things don't add up, well, it's gonna be worse." And it's just you see the evil part of it, where the domination comes out and
Mhm.
his enjoyment of using violence.
True. Yeah.
The physical violence against people, not necessarily like willy-nilly killing people, but physically it's like, I'm going to beat you until you either can't move, or in Ned's case, I'll beat you to death.
Yeah. I mean, he does not, when it comes down to it, Eric, you're absolutely correct. He does not properly enforce the law. And you could argue that all of the events that happened in this film, all of the killings, all the murder, all of the things that William Money falling off of the wagon, all of those things are a direct cause and result of his inability to uphold the law correctly in his town.
It's hard to say that, yeah, Little Bill is the the big bad guy, big villain. I mean, yeah, you hate him because we love Ned, and
Mhm.
we don't want Ned to, and Ned was kind of, he just wanted to get home to his wife.
Well, by the end,
And
sure. After
yeah,
after
and
he
that
was
was just,
faced with having to kill again, Ned
but
suddenly
he couldn't do
realized,
it.
yeah, I'm not in this. Let's talk
Yeah.
about Ned for a little bit. Before we do that, I just kind of want to acknowledge that Gene Hackman just very recently passed. It was a very sad
Yes.
situation, and man, we lost a great one. Let's talk about Ned Logan, because here, I mean, you put you put Morgan Freeman in anything, and suddenly it's watchable. I mean, the guy's just he's a wonderful actor, and his voice and the way he just creates that calm. He can be that calm character, that sort of voice of reason. And he's very much that in this film. I don't know like so much the voice of reason, but he's the reluctant killer. He's an old man that had rejected the violence of his youth, and he had transformed into a peaceful farmer and family man. So uh, he's still a skilled marksman. He didn't lose it like William Money did, which is interesting. But when he is faced with having to kill a defenseless man, that's when everything changes. Um, and honestly, I think it was his loyalty that got him killed in the end. And Sally Two Trees knew the second she saw William Money that Ned probably wasn't coming back.
Ned is a great character. I mean, he's definitely, he's William Money's friend, clearly, um, and somebody who's watched his back over the years and watched his kids, and took care of him, and and he's he's just that guy, that good guy that's watching your back and looking out for you.
But he wasn't a
And
good guy. He was a reformed guy. Because if you think about it,
well,
he
in
went
as
out
much,
and
yeah,
killed people with William Money in the past, and they didn't have any conscience about it.
where I don't know about that. I don't know if they made that clear or not on how much Ned was there during William Money's worst times. Um, because
I
that
mean,
was never,
whenever William Money talks about how he isn't that man no more,
yeah,
and he's talking to Ned, he's talking about, you remember that time I shot that guy's teeth behind through his head,
yeah,
um, and Ned's like, yeah, I remember it, and it Ned sat there through all that stuff,
true.
right? So I would say that I wouldn't necessarily call Ned a good guy. I'd say he's a reformed guy, but
Yeah,
maybe I'm just picking that apart a
but
little bit. I apologize.
there's I don't think, I mean, he's not necessarily what I would call a white hat in terms of, heroes versus villains. But then again, nobody in this movie is really, that black and white in terms of, good guy versus bad guy. I mean, these are just guys that are trying to make it the best they can. And in this situation, yeah, these William Money and Ned are poor farmers. They didn't bankroll their villainous phase into
Mhm.
some, it didn't make them rich and famous. It didn't make them
Yeah,
successful
quite the opposite.
people. What was the bounty? Like $1,000 split three ways.
Right.
Yep.
333
So
each. And
yeah, so three,
333 and 33 cents.
yeah. And yeah, $300 in those days was a small fortune,
Mhm.
but it's not like life-changing quantities of money, I don't think. Um,
Well, it certainly
but
beats pig farming.
certainly, yes, absolutely.
Especially when
Um,
you have sick pigs.
yeah,
Mhm.
you may lose that whole crop and have to start all over. Um, but yeah, I mean,
So,
so they're
would it be
just,
fair then just to say that Ned is the protagonist that you like?
yeah, for me, definitely.
Okay. How about you, Glenn? What are your thoughts on Ned Logan, the character?
Well, again, I mean, it kind of comes back through looking at Ned, and Ned is the best friend or the only friend
Yes.
that Will has. I mean, that's just what it is.
Yeah.
And both of them, because both of them have kind of said, we'll put our life behind us that we had. So all of the killing, all of the robbing, being the scary people, we're done with that. We that life is behind us. We're not living that life anymore.
Mhm.
And so the fact is that they come back out. You see Ned, and Ned's kind of made that decision. He's like, I'm not doing this anymore. And that showed when they went out to go kill the other two guys, and they found the one that was going out, and he had the rifle out. He's going to shoot him, and he couldn't pull the trigger.
Mhm.
Right.
And it was clear. It was like, I don't want to go back to this again. I don't want to go back to this life. Like, I'm changed. I don't want to go back to that.
Yeah. And his,
And
sorry, go ahead.
no, and you could see that. You could even see that when he gave the gun over to Will,
Right.
and Will starts to go at it, and you can just see the thinking in Will's head because they got a close up on that, and you can see the thinking of the, am I really going back here?
Right.
And that was the thing. It's like, we talk about the difference of if somebody can, if they've truly changed or if they've just masked who they were. And as he
Right.
said before, is like, I was drinking and I was killing people. I was
Mhm.
drinking and killing and robbing, doing all that. Stop drinking. I don't do that anymore. And so as he's trying to shoot, obviously he's like, okay, still not a good shot, but at the same time, Ned totally said, I'm not doing this. I'm out.
Right. So he
And so
was the truly reformed of the two.
he was truly reformed. I think that it was that, and I know we can get into this, but I think Will took the job based on pig farming not working out. I need some other money. I need something else. Like there has to be a change.
Yeah.
Like this isn't working,
And I don't know much else.
and I don't know anything else. So if I take this, uh, you know,
It's an opportunity presented to him by the
and
Schofield kid.
and that's it. And it's just kind of like that's all he has. He has an opportunity, and he's like, okay, I'm going to take it because my other option is to do pig
My
farming,
my
and
kids
that's not working
starve.
out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So on Ned, I know we're talking about Ned. I think that's where Ned comes back that you do like his character because he's kind of the one that's grounded.
Yeah.
I think
And that's what makes his death
he's
so
the most
jarring.
grounded character. Yeah,
Mhm.
he's the most grounded character
Yeah.
in all of it. That he's like, no, this is who we were, this is who we are now, even though there's none of those conversations about, oh, well, we shouldn't be doing this. It's like, no, I guess we're doing this. And
But also we don't see that same desperation from Ned in terms of my family's going to starve if I don't do this job for this money. He seems to be doing all right, but he sees that reward dangled in front of him and thinks, well, that'll definitely help.
Sure.
But he's not in the same boat as William Money, which is my crops are dying, my kids will starve if I don't bring this back. I have no choice but to do this because that's his only option that he's seeing.
Yeah, I would
Ned,
say that it's his only option that he's seeing. You always have a choice,
yeah,
but
Ned isn't in that same corner.
mm,
So
that's
he
a
can,
fairly good point there. Yeah.
there's,
Two people that I kind of still want to talk about, and for, time's sake, we can go into stuff in a little more detail with these guys afterwards if we want to. But, we're talking about William Money a lot. And maybe that's somebody we should focus on for a second here because, I mean, this is a protagonist who is probably one of the most complex, you know, chilling, leading at what anti-heroes. Um, in rather than being this I don't know, upright, like invincible gunslinger, he's like he's the opposite of all of that. And we've talked about, he's aging, he can't get on his horse, and he can't seem to get past his past wickedness, even though he suppresses that monster within inside him. Um, I don't know. I mean, we even start with the Schofield kid coming up. You don't look like no rootin' tootin' son of a bitch, cold-blooded assassin, and it sort of tells you right there when later on he says, "Yeah, I thought when you were one of the people from my past come up to kill me," he would have been dead to rights right there. You know,
Yeah.
he's sitting there pig farming, and he's a shadow of what I'd call the traditional cowboy archetype. He's got the hat and the boots and all this, but he's old, washed up, and I don't know. I mean, Glenn, you had pointed out that his morality was somewhat tethered to his sobriety, or at least I think that's what you were saying. Is that correct?
Yeah, well, I wouldn't say morality was tied to the sobriety. The sobriety and the morality came because he was married. His wife did that.
Mm.
And that was the whole reason, because he stated that many times throughout the film. It's like, I
Yeah,
didn't
but he
do this
keeps
because my wife.
stating it, right? Which to me feels like a mantra of like, I am a good and reformed man. I am a good and reformed man. Let me tell every person, well, that was me back then. It sort of feels like it's not real. I mean, do you feel that way
Well,
or
well, okay. So what I feel is as soon as he started drinking, which
uh-huh.
when I can't remember one of the ladies, which one that came up and told him that here's your money, Ned's dead. Um, as soon as he got that information, that's when he grabbed the whiskey bottle and started pounding it.
Right while she's talking
And
to him too. That
right when
was
she's
so
talking
cool.
to him, and you're like, oh, he's on the juice. So he's boom. All right, it's time to go. And he's like, I'm gonna go kill some people, and like I'm gonna go take care of business.
We used to call that liquid courage.
Yeah, well, there's that too. So that was kind of the thing there. You kind of look at it, and I don't think of it as forced morality. It's almost like and these are just, people that we've known throughout our lives that have gone through recovery, that have gone through that. And they do have to have that because they go, I don't want to relapse, because if I go and relapse, I know what my life is going to look like.
Right. And
And
but you
and
could also say though, they say you're like if we use alcoholism for an example, they say you're never not an alcoholic. You are a recovered alcoholic and you can easily slip back into that. And I think that's where I'm going with I felt like this was a veneer, you know, uh, where as soon as he fell off the wagon, his reformation kind of disintegrated, right? And
well,
the
I think
terrifying killer just kind of reemerged.
but he needed that
Well, yeah, you need
because
that for the plot to
because
advance,
you
but hey.
can't because for him to get revenge on Ned's behalf, because otherwise he'd
Mhm.
take the money and be done, right? He could be like, oh, they killed Ned, bummer. Um, and he could have just left.
True.
He could have left at that point, and you're like, how dare you kill my best friend?
Right. And this is where And it's funny because it makes you question this kind of thing, right? Did he kill him out of loyalty to his friend? Did he kill him out of vengeance?
The news of Ned's death definitely, I mean, it sparked an anger in him, which I don't think he's felt in a while. Um, and and William Money is the kind of man who is violent, I think, because he's angry at the world. And he had he found a wife who forgave him. He found a wife who chose to love him, and he let go of that anger and found love. And she cured him of that, is the phrase that he uses. Um, and then when he got news of Ned's death, that reignited his anger.
Yeah,
That
but I mean, he
anger,
he went into a room full of people where he could have easily been just, killed, and decided
but
that he was going to take out, met out that vengeance and
yes,
wipe all these people out. So
and he did it with an absolute, just cold, emotionless, um, you know, almost machine-like precision,
psychopathic, yeah.
because he had no fear. He didn't care if he died. He didn't care if somebody shot him. You know,
Yeah, he wasn't shaking at all at that point.
no, no.
Uh, Glenn, you had a thought on this, so go ahead.
Yeah, so there's two things. I'll take a different. I have a different take on Will Money, and the thing is the cold-blooded killer part. There's reformation, and the reason I say there's reformation is when they're bringing up, he's killed women and children.
Mhm.
When they shot the first guy, they found him and he shot the first guy. The guy's
Mhm.
screaming, it's like, I'm so thirsty. And he's like, bring him some water.
Yeah.
Well, why would he do that? Because he
Mhm.
said, I'm not going to shoot. He let the other guy bring water and let him go. And
Still
then let the
merciful.
other guys go.
Still
Uh,
merciful to some degree.
and
Or
then,
or
and
was
then
he
what? And
doing that
then,
for Ned's benefit
no, not for Ned's benefit.
or the
Because
kids?
here's the reason I say that. I say
Okay,
that
okay.
because he gets the news of Ned. He goes, I'm going back, I'm going to go back and get little Bill. Well, there's a couple reasons. Number one, if he doesn't go back and get little Bill, number one, it's like he was going to bail because he was like, okay, we're done. When he heard Ned's dead, he goes, oh, number one, I'm pissed. Even though that little Bill beat the hell out of Will, he's like, let it go.
Mhm.
That's another reformation. Because
Mhm.
otherwise, if he got beat up and little Bill beat him up, he'd take him out.
Mhm.
So he comes back, kills kills Skinny, kills little Bill, and then he yells at everybody, anybody who doesn't want to die, go out the back. And so he let a whole bunch of people go. He didn't go in and kill everybody. It wasn't, I'm going to come to town and I'm going to kill every man that's in this saloon right now. All these
Yeah.
people are going to be on the hunt to kill me. He
Yeah.
killed all, instead of killing him, he let him go.
He let Beauchamp go too.
Yeah. So you have all of this that's going in, and you go, all right, well, if he didn't have any humanity, he wouldn't have let him go. He would have just killed all of them because
Right.
he knew it's like he had to go back and
Mhm.
kill Bill at the very least, because otherwise Bill is going to constantly hunt him down.
That's the thing I was thinking, is that he took out all the sheriffs and Little Bill. So
Hmm.
you don't have this posse to come after him
Right.
anymore.
Right. So
And he's
that's my
also,
that's my take on it. My take is there's that, and the humanity is still there because if it wasn't, he would have killed everybody.
Let's check out another character here. And I'm going to say, for me, that this character is the most vital component of the entire film. And he's laced with the most rich irony as far as a character goes. Um, because, here's this kid that's literally and morally blind, the Schofield kid, right? Named after his rifle because he's so good at shooting it. Yet, he can't shoot past a certain distance. He wants to be a gunslinger so badly. And who does he approach? Somebody that, what was his uncle would talk about as being one
Yeah.
of the worst, killers of men. And so he tracks this guy down to be his partner in a bounty. And he's got this sort of he's like the opposite the reader of stuff that like Beauchamp would put out, right? These this glorified gunslinger that kills without, conscience. But if you look at him, he's nearsighted and immature, he's inexperienced, and I'd say that blindness is probably some of the richest symbolism you're ever going to see in a film, because it, I don't know, just he's incapable of seeing, the horror that is involved in taking someone's life. And his transformation to me is probably one of the most massive in the film because once he's actually killed a man, and you see this a lot in war films and in real life with soldiers, once they've actually killed somebody, it changes them forever. It's a wonderful sort of juxtaposition with William Money and Little Bill, who are like the true hardened killers in this film. They know what they're capable of. And I guess, I don't know how to word this. Maybe it illustrates how the true badasses are hardened, like tragic monsters, instead of heroic adventurers. And I think maybe the disillusionment this kid has initially is that he probably thinks of himself as some kind of heroic adventurer. What do you guys think of the Schofield kid? And are you like me in the sense that you feel like that he's super integral to this plot, or do you feel like, here's this annoying, catalyst to the plot?
The interesting thing with the Schofield kid is I think he's kind of because he doesn't have a name, he's the Schofield kid, right?
Right.
It's not like this is Stephen Smith. It's Schofield kid. So he is I want to say the everyman, the every boy that goes, all I want to be is like as I mean, we didn't grow up in in the 18, mid late 1800s. So we don't have any idea of that, but I would assume it's the same type of feeling as you're growing up and you're young. You're like, well, what do you want to be? Well, I want to be a badass gunslinger. Like I want to be a cowboy. I want to be one of those people that goes out and can, go kill people and kill all the bad people and save people. And then, oh, if I want to rob a bank, I can rob a bank and nobody will mess with me because they're all going to be afraid. And you have this bravado and you're like, well, this is who we are. And I think he brought well, these are what everybody wants. This is what all the kids want. And what happens when they finally get what they want?
Yeah.
It's like, this is terrible. This is the worst thing. How could I do this? I think that's what was so impactful is because you have the main, the main characters, between Little Bill and Will and Ned, and you have them, and you have the juxtaposition of this young kid who's basically grown up with, oh my uncle's a bad guy, so I can be a bad guy. And in reality, he was just full of crap and coming up and going
So
like,
was the
here's
guy
your
sitting on the
opportunity.
toilet he shot.
Yeah, and shoot the guy on the toilet that's
Right.
unarmed, and you're like, oh, and yeah, the guy you're
He was just
killing
sitting
was,
there.
but the guy was, a terrible. As the film had set it up, this guy is a terrible human being.
Mhm.
Like, it's like who could you take out that would be the terrible human being? Well, you took out the terrible human being, and look at his response from taking out a terrible human being instead of
Yeah.
somebody who might have been innocent.
Yeah, definitely. That's a great take. Really great take. I knew there was a reason we had you on. uh, Eric, how about you? Schofield Kid.
Both the Schofield Kid and W. Beauchamp have read and written stories about these quote unquote heroes of the West. But in both of these cases, they were given the opportunity, gun in hand, to become that role, to take on that role. And W didn't have the heart, didn't have the spirit to do it.
Mm.
And the Schofield Kid crossed that line and actually pulled the trigger. and then understood the cost of it. Of, it's not like what I read. It's not like you see in the stories. It's, it's ugly, and you take a man's life and you take away everything he was and everything he will be, even though the person he killed was, a bad guy. He was convinced that person was a bad guy
Yeah,
because
but
of what he did.
deserves got
And
nothing to do with it.
yeah, and just, starts drinking, and it's just like, yeah, no, take the gun. I never want to use again. I never want to do it again.
So in that essence is kind of where I started off with this. Do you guys feel like this is one of the most important characters in this film, or could they have done this film without that character?
Yeah, well, absolutely. He needed to be in the story because you're showing in real time what happens when someone is able to take a life and go, what is that like? For somebody who's glorified it, never had the experience, got the experience. And I think that's, again, going back to the whole film going, we don't want to glorify, violence.
Yeah, I concur. And it's interesting because I remember the first couple times I watched this film, I wasn't deep diving into it. I was watching it, and I mean a lot of these themes struck me, but I wasn't intensely thinking about them and how it all fit together like a puzzle, and the deconstruction and all that stuff. That sort of is something that hit me maybe after a couple of watches. In the beginning, I just thought, oh, here's this annoying kid, and late now I look at him and think, wow, you know, I sort of sold that kid short because story wise, plot wise, he really, I think he drives the nail into, the coffin of what it is to kill, and really highlights the violence in a way that maybe the viewers should be feeling themselves. But because we're so desensitized to violence, we aren't feeling it. So, did you guys catch anything that might be an Easter egg or something the average casual viewer might have missed? Why don't we start with Glenn?
Sure. Now, did you notice English Bob? Did you notice that, he's got the upper class British accent throughout the film? But when little Bill puts him in that carriage, in the little prison carriage, and sends him off to the train, it changes to like this lower class London Cockney accent instead of an upper class British accent. And it basically showed him that he was just a phony. He's full of BS. He just put on a high class airs.
That's a great catch.
From my understanding, that was something that Richard Harris suggested to Clint Eastwood, because that Londoner Cockney accent is his natural speaking tone.
I wonder if he resorted to speaking with a Cockney accent because he's from Limerick, Ireland. So I would imagine his a real accent is probably, Southern Irish, but making the conscious decision that you want to speak Cockney instead of your native accent, whatever.
Well, then, which is a complete departure from when he played Dumbledore.
Yeah.
In Harry Potter.
Right.
Sure.
He was a damn good actor, a very fine actor. So again, here's another guy from the film that is long, since left us. But man, what a great actor. It's too bad we can't do several top 5 lists in this, because I think Richard Harris films might have been a good idea for us. But before we go to top 5, we still have Eric's Did You Catch That and mine. Let's see, Eric, do we have the same one? Let's find out. Go ahead. What do you got?
Goodness. Okay, this is kind of a fun little bit that I've found. The Schofield kid, who names himself after the firearm, as he's bragging about, what a badass he is, claims that he's killed 5 men using his Schofield pistols. when in fact that's an absolute lie, and he's never killed anyone before except for the first guy, which he shoots in the toilet, and then he hands the gun over to Bill Money, William Money, who then proceeds to shoot 4 people in the saloon with the Schofield kid's pistol,
Right.
bringing the total number of people killed with that gun to 5, as the kid bragged about in the beginning.
That's a good did you catch that. I did not count the number of people killed with a gun. That's great, man. I like it.
That's awesome.
My did you catch that is something that you might have had to have watched Clint Eastwood from a early age, back when he was in Rawhide. He played Rowdy Yates. I don't know if you guys watched that series or not. I didn't watch a lot of it, but I'd seen enough of it. And I didn't notice this at first. It was some time later. And it's that he's wearing a pair of boots in Unforgiven that look eerily similar to what Rowdy Yates wore. And you can't really tell in the black and white, but the cowboy boots they're tannish in color, and he's got his, they're covered by his pants, but there's a sport belt clasp on the front. And even if they're not the same boots, it's clear that William Money and Rowdy Yates go to the same boot seller. So that's my did you catch that.
I think they are the same boots, and I think those boots are in a museum somewhere now.
Do you think William Money killed Rowdy Yates?
That's going to be for a Doctor Who episode.
According to
Nice.
the trivia which I saw on this film, those are the same boots. Clint Eastwood kept those in his possession, wore them for Rawhide, and they wore them in this film. They basically are, these boots bookend his Western career. And the boots are currently on display in the Gene Autry Western Museum.
I wonder now, given the fact that this film is sort of an atonement for all those years of gun violence that was glorified, if that was done on purpose, probably.
Could have done without that.
I don't really have I could have done without that with this film, because I feel like this film's almost perfect. Or I think it's as close to perfect as you get with a film of this type. If you'd asked me maybe 10, 15 years ago, I might have said that, when the friend of the cowboy who cuts up the whore gets persecuted, it's unfair. It's it sucks. But thinking about it now, it's kind of realistic, because when you associate with people like that, sometimes it's your own damnation. And even though it makes me feel uncomfortable as a viewer of the film, because he's the only guy who's recalcitrant, he's the guy who comes up and actually tries to, make amends with the girls, I still feel like that's the correct decision. So my could have done without that is kind of erased. So I don't really have one for this film. Do you guys have anything? Eric, I'll go to you. Did you have it could have done without that?
Not for this film, no. Everything feels solid to me.
Yeah, it feels very intentional, everything. How about you, Glenn? Was there anything that you could have done without?
Well, I went through the film, watched it again specifically for that. Like, what could be cut out? Because there's so many films that we watch and you go, yeah, I could have lost that, could have lost that, could have lost that. There's a lot of stuff that you could put on the cutting room floor. I saw absolutely nothing with this film. I was like, every single scene, you look at it and go, why is this scene in the movie? What is it doing? Is it moving it forward? Is it, what's it doing? Every single scene had to be in the film because it moved it forward.
Absolutely, yeah.
I guess I would say there's the what I wish was in the film that wasn't in the film, which is an interesting thing. Is I'm interested is why didn't he take Delilah with him? That would have been an interesting.
Take her where?
Well, he left town. He left town. He went to San Francisco with his kids, started a mercantile business or whatever. I think that was the end card that came up, and it was just kind of an interesting thing because he kept saying, both of us have scars. And this is when she came to him when he woke up, and he goes, "I thought you were an angel. I saw the angel of death," during that scene. And I kind of thought to myself, okay, you went, and I understand that he probably killed people. And he's like, okay, now I'm back to being who I didn't want to be. And maybe he just left. But I thought to myself, oh, well, at those times, things are hard. I mean, does that make sense? He still has to go back to his kids and make a life for his kids.
Yeah. Hi, kids. I brought a prostitute back with me.
Yeah, she's your new mom. I don't know.
I think he felt like she was safe from anybody that might seek retribution because they're all dead now, right? The cowboys are dead, the sheriff's dead, all the other sheriff's deputies are gone. The women are all alive.
They'll take over the saloon and the brothel.
Yeah.
And he's put the fear of God into everybody that would do anything against them.
Yeah. I mean, there is a power vacuum in that town now in Big Whiskey, but will the women take over the town in that time period? I don't know.
Watch Unforgiven 2 coming to theaters soon. Well, here we go. I've got a buddy of mine who was on the film. He's in the movie.
No kidding.
So the train scene, he's one of the train people that English Bob is on. When English Bob and Beauchamp are coming to town and they're on the train, he's one of the guys in there. So I got to kind of hear some of the stuff that what he was doing. So Richard Harris, who obviously plays English Bob, he was keeping everybody entertained by doing Peter O'Toole impersonations. So in between shoots, in between the shots that they were doing, he's just pretending to be Peter O'Toole, whether it's from Lawrence of Arabia, Caligula. I mean, he's just going to town doing all the different things. And I was like, wow, he's like, no, it was great. He was hilarious. And he's like, he was awesome. He was so cool. The other thing that was interesting is when English Bob suggests to go out and shoot pheasants.
Uh-huh.
And the pheasants, he was telling me they tied him to a nylon line, like fishing line. So when he would shoot them, he could pull them down and they would fall down. And so at first I was like, oh, so I went back and rewatched it, and I went and you could see the nylon as the birds are flying out. You could see it just in the beginning. If you weren't looking for it, you wouldn't see it. But you go back and you watch that scene, you can see the little nylon string coming out. And so they could pull them back so the birds wouldn't totally disappear.
Wow. Not bad.
So that was a really interesting thing. And it was, I think it was the only thing that was shot, that train scene, I think was the only thing that was shot outside of Canada, outside of Alberta.
Well, the entire film was shot in 39 days. The production designer, Harry Bloomfield, built the entire set for Big Whiskey in a record-breaking 32 days. The screenplay, written by David Webb Peoples, who co-wrote Blade Runner and 12 Monkeys, originally sold this movie script in the 1970s, but it took more than 20 years to bring it to film. The movie was one of the original directors and stars attached to the project was Francis Ford Coppola, and star was John Malkovich. Movie buffs are probably familiar with this bit of trivia, but Clint Eastwood is actually allergic to horses. The film is dedicated to Sergio and Don, Sergio Leone and Don Siegel. Sergio Leone is the director who helped start Clint Eastwood's career in his spaghetti westerns, where he portrayed the man with no name. And Don Siegel is the director who helped boost Clint Eastwood's career through the Dirty Harry films.
Mm-hmm. Good times. Is that all of them, or you got more?
Richard Harris was at home watching the Clint Eastwood film High Plains Drifter on television when Clint Eastwood called him on the phone to offer him the role of English Bob. Richard Harris thought it was a prank. I've got a couple pieces of trivia regarding Clint Eastwood, but I'm not sure if that really fits in with the theme.
I have a rogue runaway camera. I apologize.
Yes, you do.
What in the heck is going on here?
It's like, I'm going.
And it looks like a little creature because it's got two eyes and a little mouth that changes color. So anyway, sorry about that. I was passively listening. Only my camera decided to go on a trip, and suddenly it became very difficult. As money is getting beaten in the bar downstairs, the kid and Ned begin to flee the room. Ned falls out of the window and rolls off of the wet roof and is heard landing in the mud on his back. When he jumps up, he's completely dry and not a bit of wetness or mud or dirt on his back and arms. When William Money walks in and confronts the posse, his hat and clothes appear completely dry, even though he just came in from the pouring rain. In the shot following, when W.W. Beauchamp leaks on the planks, they're dry again with no puddle to be seen. The first time in the saloon, Money pushes the glass on the table until it touches the bottle. The next shots show the glass a little distance from the bottle. These are just minor cues. I mean, you know. When given back his Spencer rifle by Bill, Ned's grip on the rifle jumps between shots. Most of the film takes place in early July. However, the environment shows signs of other seasons, like ripe cornfields or trees in full autumn colors. In one scene, there's snow on the ground, and though this is supposed to take place in the mountains, the trees are leafless, showing it was shot in winter. When English Bob and W.W. Beauchamp walk out of the barbershop, they are confronted by Little Bill and his deputies with guns drawn. In the first shot outside the barbershop, Deputy Fatty Rossiter's rifle is held at English Bob's head. In the very next shot, Rossiter is holding the rifle at his hip. So Eric and I debated this for a while. And when I say we debated it, we had all kinds of lists drawn up of, oh, maybe it's this, maybe it's that, maybe it's cowboy films, maybe it's, cowboy films are so broad. We decided, hey, what about top 5 Clint Eastwood films? That sounds kind of good. And for me, that's going to be kind of a narrow parameter because there's only certain Clint Eastwood films that I really enjoyed. I'm not sure about you guys, but Wes Chatham, if you're out there, I still am stealing this bit. And until you come on this show and take it back, I will continue to do so. So the line has been drawn in the sand, buddy. I got my pistol. I'll meet you at high noon. I mean, just come on the show. Anyway, top 5 Clint Eastwood films. I'll give you guys a correct list, and then afterwards you can give me yours. Here we go. My number 5 is going to be Firefox. Great film, spy plane epic with Clint Eastwood. Maybe you heard of him. Okay, number 4, Hang 'em High. I just loved this film, the whole concept of it. This guy, they unjustifiably try to hang this guy off the back of a horse, and he rides back into town with vengeance on his mind. Number 3, High Plains Drifter. He's a ghost in this one, essentially. Oh, wait, did I just give it away? Guess what? It's been how many decades? You should know it by now. My number 2 and my number 1 are almost interchangeable. You could put either one in this order, but my number 2 is going to be The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. Honestly, it's epic on almost every level. The soundtrack, Ennio Morricone, the characters, the writing, the Mexican standoff, just the whole concept of this film is fabulous. Which number one is going to be Unforgiven, because honestly, the reason it moves up to number one is simply because of what I was talking about this whole time with the Western being turned on its head. I feel like this is the Paramount film, and I don't want to say Paramount the company, but I mean the Paramount film that really like topsy-turvies the whole Western genre. And that's my top five.
We'll go Every Which Way But Loose.
It's number five.
It's number five.
Cool.
We have The Good, the Bad, or actually, no, then Firefox.
Nice.
Because, yeah, I mean, it's the 80s, right? It's the Cold War. It's everything. The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. And the challenges, because Unforgiven and Gran Torino. And I think there's parallels between the two of those, between like the redemption aspects in there.
Right.
So
these are my top 5 Clint Eastwood movies, not necessarily saying these are his best films, but these are the ones which I love the most in this order. I'm going with The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly just on a coin flip as my number 5. My number 4 is Every Which Way But Loose, to go for a complete radical shift in character and style. Number 3, which did not make either one of your lists, is In the Line of Fire, where he's a Secret Service agent goes back on duty to protect the president after failing to protect Kennedy during his assassination. My number 2 film is Unforgiven. And my number 1 Clint Eastwood movie, because it just completely broke me, is $1 Million Baby.
It's a great film.
Yes.
Really good film.
Absolutely broke me watching that movie.
let's get poppin'.
All right, so we're gonna rate this film from 1 to 5 pops, 5 being best. And I kind of have an inkling of what I think this is going to be. Kind of like our last episode, we sort of had a trifecta, but somebody can surprise you once in a while. So we're going to go with our guest, Glenn, my good friend since God, a long time.
Been a hot minute.
Yeah, hot. What is your rating in pops for Unforgiven?
5 pops for Unforgiven.
Solid. Absolutely solid. Eric, how many pops would you give Unforgiven?
Unforgiven is clearly a 5 pop movie.
And it's funny how we sort of talked about all of the points, and now when it gets down to it, we don't have to justify why we're all giving this film 5 pops. I mean, I don't have a mechanism for giving it more because we have determined that it's 1 to 5. So it gets 5 pops. It'd get way more if I could. Anyway.
5.
Man,
how many?
That was the shortest disco song ever. Just saying. Hey, we want to thank our guest, Glenn Thayer, for coming on and regaling us with his knowledge.
We just get to hang out, man. This was great. Thank you so much for having me, dude. This is great. This is great.
Yeah, I miss getting to see you in person, and so many friends these days, that this show is almost a godsend in a way, because it's like, oh, this is my excuse to get to talk to you guys again. So, not that we can't call or write, but we're Gen X. We're pretty bad at that.
Right?
Well, anyway, for those of you listening and watching, we have a website, poppodcast.com. You can go to our website and do all sorts of fun and wonderful things, like support us, because you can click a link that will take you to our Patreon, or you can buy merchandise. Come back here, camera. My camera, we're going to have words, camera. All right, so you can buy merchandise. We have a link where you can go and shop and get mugs, t-shirts, stickers, all kinds of stuff. Everything you buy there helps us because it goes into the coffers, which will help us, do things like fix this camera. buy better gear, etc. Eric and I are going to be at San Jose GalaxyCon, which is happening my birthday weekend and Glenn's birthday weekend. We share that, which is August 28th through the 30th, something like that. But if you're going to be at San Jose GalaxyCon, come up and say hi to Eric and I. Will be walking around with these goofy shirts that have QR codes on them that lead people to our YouTube page. Why? Guerrilla marketing. That's why. But I can't wait to go. Elvira's going to be there. All kinds of great celebrities and tons of cool stuff like what's on the shelves behind me. So yeah, come say hi. We'd love to talk to you. On that note, we have socials. Every social you can think of, go there, like, follow, talk to us, chat with us. We love that kind of thing. Eric, did you have anything else you wanted to say before we ride off into the sunset?
No, I love the episode, love the film. More people should see it. Amazing. And looking forward to the next episode. And until then, keep on popping.
Excellent. Well, I wish I could say I'm going to live through this film, but I teamed up here with my good friend who's a no-good killer of women and children and anything that could walk or crawl at some point. And I have a feeling the little Bill's going to whip me and probably beat me to death. So Glenn, avenge me.
I'm there for you, brother.
Excellent. On that note, I guess we're off and we're leaving as well.